The best part probably about what we do, our customers keep sharing images or videos of the tasks that they have been able to achieve, and they are really, really inspiring. The moment you see a video of a person going to a place where he or she had never gone before, or there are users like so few of our users are actually half marathoners. Someone had a half marathon time of 2 hours 15 minutes, and on our wheelchair it reduced to 1 hour 45 minutes combined with the training, but then there was close to a 25% reduction in the time. And when people achieve such events, then it really gives us a lot of excitement. And each of those images that we get from our customers, which they share happily, I think that's really a very nice feedback for everybody. It's a big motivation for all of us, all the work that we do.
Hello everyone, my name is Neil Patel. I am the host of the Indian Startup Show, and that was my guest Swostik Dash. He is the CEO and co-founder of Neomotion. This is a Chennai-based startup, and they have developed a personalised wheelchair and a battery-powered clip-on device that converts the wheelchair into a roadworthy electric vehicle. Sounds amazing, that. So basically helping people with disabilities to live a more independent life. So in this episode, he talks about how the journey started back in 2015 by talking to 200 wheelchair users around the 40 locations in India. Talks about the initial stages of product development. You will learn how he makes decisions around feature requests. Talks about how they balance creating impactful products, social change, while making money at the same time. Talks about the 5 main metrics he checks every morning. He talks about why they don't go after fancy features. Gives us interesting thoughts on what wheelchairs will look like in 100 years' time. And finally, he talks about the huge impact he's making on people's lives. And much more. So please enjoy the show. Thank you. Hello, Swostik. Thank you for coming on the Indian Startup Show today.
Thank you so much, Neil, for inviting me.
Awesome stuff. Please tell the listeners what you're building.
So Neil, what we are building are 2 products, NeoFly and NeoBolt, which are comprehensive mobility solutions for wheelchair users. The problem that we are addressing goes as follows. So, every year, close to 300,000 wheelchairs are sold in India, but 95% of all wheelchairs that are sold in India are of the concept of one size fits all. Well, all of us are wearing shoes, but imagine if the shoes are of size 14. Are they really useful? When it comes to outdoor mobility, wheelchair users use products like modified scooters. So they will take a 2-wheeler and then attach 2 wheels on the sides so that the balance is maintained. But less than 1% of the wheelchair users can actually independently transfer onto them. So how can we expect wheelchair users to go outside? And that's why we don't see them at theaters or hall, at an office or at a park. So what we're trying to do is to solve these problems of a comprehensive indoor and outdoor mobility.
How did the journey start? What in terms of product development and research?
I mean, we stumbled upon this problem when there was another product which was again in the field of assistive devices called standing wheelchair, which we were developing in 2015. And during the course of field trials for that, we went and interacted with close to 200 wheelchair users across 40 locations in India, both rural and urban. And when we were meeting them, interacting with them, we understood what are the kind of products that they're using, what are the different challenges that they're facing, and the socioeconomic environment where they're operating. And that is where, during the course of these interactions, we found the problems that we are solving.
Awesome stuff. Tell me about that journey then of talking to 200 plus wheelchair users. What questions did you ask? What insights did you get? Were any standout moments? Any light bulb moments?
When we were meeting these users, when we were interacting with them, what we observed primarily, most of them were using a wheelchairs which was primarily donated, and the number of people who really understood that what a good wheelchair is like was very minimal. For example, if we have to go and buy a cell phone, we know what specifications we want. We'll say the screen size, the battery power. But when it came to a wheelchair, hardly anybody knew what a wheelchair is like or should be like. The entire conception that they had is like any chair which has got 4 wheels wheelchair, but which that's not really the case. It goes much more than that. And this understanding was lacking not only amongst the users, but also amongst the medical professionals. So maybe like a person had a road accident and a spine injury, they will go to a hospital, they will be treated, and finally they need to go and use a wheelchair, and the prescription would just say just go buy a wheelchair, whereas there are so much more details to it which taken care well will ensure that the person will actually have a good lifestyle. So that understanding was completely missing amongst the users, and because of that, even there was a lack of demand for a quality product. They didn't even know what to ask for, what to seek out for.
So you've asked 200 plus wheelchair users, you've got all the data. What did you do next?
What we understood from this data are like, it's basically, if we had to summarize, like we summarized our entire understanding into people are confined into within four walls and they have poor health. Their self-confidence is at a very, very low state, and their entire employment is kind of getting affected because they're unable to go out. So this is the summary that we had. And we said, okay, fine. So how do we address it? As a first step, like inside your home, unless you're able to take care of yourself, unless you're able to go use the washroom, cook for yourself, wear your own clothes, unless you're able to do these activities, you can't anyway step out. Second, yes, you will be using a wheelchair. You will be sitting on it for probably 4 hours to 10 hours in a day. If you're going to sit on it for such a long duration, unless it fits you well, it will damage your health. And if your health is again damaged, you will again not be able to do anything. So second thing is like you have to conserve your health. Like the duration that you sit on a wheelchair, it should not do any damage. And the third part is, okay, fine, now you're able to take care of yourself, your health, we're able to ensure that it stays the same or it improves. Then how do you go out seamlessly, independently, without taking the help of anybody else? How do you go out and move? So that's the third insight that we generated. And using these three, we came up with the products. So we address the first two problems of a good health and being able to take care of all the activities inside by having a custom wheelchair. So we do 18 customizations on our product based on the measurement of the body. So there are around 10 features which we adjusted. And based on the kind of use case that you would have, for example, a person would travel on an uneven terrain most of the times versus a person who travel on a very smooth terrain for most of the times. The kind of tires that need to be selected for them are completely different. If you're sitting on a desk for 3-4 hours versus you're a very sporty and active person, the kind of armrests that you need for yourself are again very different. So we understand their measurements, we understand their lifestyle, and we also understand that what is the ability that they have in their body. Like everybody would have a different level of muscle control. Based on that, they would need different kind of support or freedom in the product. So by combining all of these, we do these 18 customizations that ensure that there is a perfect fit between their measurements, the health and the lifestyle and the product that they're using.
Awesome stuff. So let's fast forward to today then. How many have you sold, and can you share some stats?
Yeah, so as of now, there are close to 400 users in India, though they are using our wheelchair and motorized unit, and they are spread across 25 states. We started our commercial sales in early 2020, and in this while we have been able to do this. Our numbers have been, the queries, the interest have been gradually increasing. So as of now, like we have another 100 more orders to be fulfilled. So that's where things are.
How long did it take you to get your first sale then? And what was that like, and who was it?
Yeah, so we did our pilot sale in 2017 when we had our proof of concept, and then we said, okay, fine, the product people really like it, but then can we really sell it? It's a price point working. So in 2017 we said, can we get 100 orders? And we went to users, we gave them a test drive, and we said, are you interested to buy? Why don't you pay us a token advance? And after offering 30 test drives, 25 of them paid in advance. So that was like, yeah, fine, I mean, the product has a market. There are people who would take it. From 2017 to and we did not go all the way to getting 100 orders. We stopped at the 25th order because our conversion was good, and which basically gave us the validation that our understanding about who will be the user and the paying capacity of the user was in sync. It was kind of validated. We spent the next 1 year building the first 25 units. Setting up manufacturing has been our biggest challenge till now. So in 2018, we delivered the first 25 units, which users used it for a year, and there were a lot of real-time feedback on as people use it in a real world. A lot of inputs came to us, and based on that, iterations were done. And in late 2019, early 2020, we started our commercial sales and delivery.
Yeah, you said you got a lot of feedback in terms of feature requests. I suppose you can't say yes to everything because then you'd never actually go around building things. How do you make decisions around feature requests?
We basically what we do is we try to map it. We group them, and then we look at it. How many people are actually asking for this, and we categorize them into like an absolute essential. Certain things are then will fall in the category of desirable. So we focused only on the absolute essential ones, which are required either for a functionality or from a safety. Those are the ones which we prioritize. We didn't go after some desirable and fancy features because which will not be the game changers. We focused on what are those features. If we don't have it right now, a sale will actually get affected, or it will have an issue on the safety, or after 3 years the person will not be willing to make the next purchase. So these are the metrics which we use to prioritize, and most of them fell in the category of safety and product reliability. Like certain things, like for example, our brake levers were probably getting loose quickly, and then it was like, how do we address them? Features like that.
I'm interested to know what went wrong in the early days. Obviously, you suddenly didn't wake up when you had the perfect wheelchair.
So yeah, we did. In fact, the first pilot sale that we did was after 3 iterations of product development. When we started, we first actually developed only the motorized add-on to the wheelchair, which could fit to any existing wheelchair, and people can go seamlessly outdoors, because we thought that would be a good point to start, because there already people are using wheelchairs, and by having only an attachment to existing wheelchairs, the market would be actually large. And we built that, and we made a universal attachment, and we fitted our motorized unit to existing wheelchairs. What we found that the existing wheelchairs did not have the strength to go on Indian roads at the speeds of 25 kilometers per hour, with which we had built the motorized attachment, and the existing wheelchair started falling apart. And then so we again had to go back to the drawing board and build the wheelchair, which was at a later part of our phasing out plan. We had thought that we'll build the wheelchair later, but then we said no, we have to build the wheelchair now, because only then the motorized attachment and the wheelchair will combined have a strength that will ensure that it's safe to use. So that was our second iterations. And when both of these in the first as a first concept, all that was there in these 2 products was like a good wheelchair with a quick attachment mechanism which users can use. When we started driving, we had to add suspensions, we had to increase the ruggedness of the structure, like the weight of the motor driven unit increased from probably like 20 kgs to 35 kgs, adding in a lot of structural members, optimized so that they can drive well on the Indian roads. We had to add all the features that are there in a road vehicle: indicators, horn, buzzer, rear view mirrors, because all of them are extremely important safety elements, including a seat belt. So they were added. And then there is a test called ISO 7176, which tests the durability of the product. We put our entire product on the rig, and a bunch of components failed over there, and then they had to be reiterated. So like over 4 design iterations, we reached a stage where now the product functionally, all the features are there, all the elements that are there, they have the desired durability. And it was tested, these 25 pilot users who did the trials in August 2018, they tested for 1 year. In that 1 year, we came across the issues which were only encountered in real life, which we could not simulate in lab. So these were the 4 iterations which we did to come up with the commercial sale in early 2020.
Yeah, you've got to have a loud horn on the Indian roads.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So you started this in 2015, 2016, and you sold the first wheelchair in 2020. That is a long time. You ever thought about giving up, or what kept you motivated?
So there are very interesting milestones that happened in between. So we did our pilot sale in 2017. So our first of 25 orders came in 2017. Our first 25 deliveries were made in 2018, and in the between 2018 to 2019, a good amount of time went in understanding of what these users are doing on a daily basis, and parallelly setting up the entire production. So almost every 5-6 months, whatever milestone that we wanted to achieve, that was constantly coming in. So there was constant progress that way. Yeah, things took time, and the biggest time-consuming factor would be like probably setting up our production facility, which at times was really frustrating, in the sense you would work with a vendor, spend 3 months, and then finally realize at the end of 3 months that all the work that we have done has not yielded in anything, and then you go back to square one and start. It's only probably at the time when we were setting up our entire supply chain where we had moments of frustration, because we spent 3 months and then there is no result. Otherwise, throughout the course, like whatever was the next milestone that lied ahead, we were able to achieve, and that gave us the motivation that, yeah, I mean, we are achieving progress. Maybe at times it's slow, but yeah, we were able to go through it. And hardware that way, I don't know. I found it that it's difficult. Like our wheelchair has close to 200 components on it. The motorized wheelchair, the motorized attachment also has got close to 200 components. So 400 components across 80 to 90 vendors, sourcing them, testing them, validating them. All of them actually kept us quite occupied during the entire 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've done prototyping, experimenting, spending time with customers, product development, basically.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to our listeners about product development?
Yeah. So I think the entire cycle that we followed we followed pretty existing principles. It was always like when we had our first concept development, all that we built is what is that one feature if we have this product becomes desirable, people would value it and they will buy for it. So when we had our first concept, we went to users and we observed the kind of questions that they asked. The questions were like, what is the price, when will it be available? And it did follow with a lot of improvement features, but the first two questions really helped us understand that yes, no, if somebody is asking about the price and when it will be available, there is a genuine interest. So that was our first feedback that we had. So our next set of feedback was, okay, now that people want it, can we put a price tag on it and see will people really pay in advance for it? And then it is like, okay, what is the quantum of advance that they're paying? So these are the steps which really helped us from an overall business cycle to ensure that, okay, the product market fit that we are talking about, it is in place. And throughout our 4 to 5 years, every time we have kept a very open mindset to feedback and changes. At times we make a plan, but after 4 or 5 months, we see that the direction that we had chosen was right or it had coaching. So having that open mindset that yes, we had started, but then times have changed. The decision that we had taken was not right. As long as we are consciously aware of it and we take that course correction, that helps. The third thing that I would say is we took a bold decision that we would not raise any external investment till we get 100 units, because it gives us that breathing space where we iterate and we get the product fit right. And it has also helped us develop a lot of lean methods in how we utilize our resources, the kind of decisions that we take. All of them were helped through that approach. So these are the three things which I would say.
Talk about your co-founder then. Obviously not doing this on your own.
Yeah, so the team, it's basically 4 of us are the key team members over here. So it started with myself and Professor Sujata Srinivasan, who is actually a professor at IIT, with whom I had worked before and with whom I was introduced into this field of assistive technology. We two started, and we were later joined by one of my batchmates, Siddharth, who is my batchmate from IIT Chennai, and Ashish, who is 2 years junior to me at IIT NIT. All the entire team which started, we all had worked together at some point of time in the past while we were at the school, and that's how we all came together. The primary interest that all of us somewhere or the other had was product development. Each one of us loved design and wanted to build something. So yeah, that's the team. As of now, we are a team of 23. We have a full-time clinician also as a part of our team, and including team members with background of engineering, people who have shop floor skills, ITI as we call it here. Yeah.
Well, what does product management or product development mean to you then?
Yeah, so it's basically finding the fit between what exactly is required by the customer, being able to develop it, and having a value which makes sense to that target segment. So the key thing is to be able to, what are those one or two features which are solving that burning need of a particular customer, and if you solve it, the customer will take it. So I think that's very important, and being able to identify it along the product life cycle is very important. And as long as we focus on that, I think things will keep improving, and it will continue. There will be a sustainability in that.
Because obviously, you're trying to make money, but you're trying to implement, impactful products and social change at the same time. That must be a difficult balancing act.
It's an extremely, that's a great question, and it's a very difficult space that I would say that what we are operating, because the challenge is not only in the product development. I think a product development is more of an in-house problem. If you spend time, you're able to do it. Our bigger challenges are like, what is the present scenario of the market? Like, if I have to characterize the assistive technology, the assistive devices market in India, I would say that first, it's a donation-driven market. As high as 90% of the products are donated, which primarily means the decision metrics are very different. The decision maker is different. The value is, okay, I have X amount of money, and what is the maximum number of people that I can benefit out of using this X amount of money? And it usually boils down to the cheapest or the lowest cost product, which need not necessarily be the best, or in fact at times they are damaging. So that's the mindset. That's the segment of buyers that stands today. Second, it's highly unorganized and fragmented. There is no existing distribution channel on which you can ride. There is no community of medical professionals, a close-knit place, or a single channel, or probably an organized channel which you can ride. So at the same time, users are also spread across different locations in very smaller pockets, making it very difficult to reach. So that's the second category. It's unorganized and fragmented. And third, also the paying capacity of individual users is on a lower side. Usually what would happen is a person would have a road accident or some tragedy, some trauma. They will spend all their savings in the healthcare system with the hope that things would improve and they would be able to probably walk again or do something. And after they have completely spent all their savings, they would realize and accept that, no, I need to use a wheelchair right now. And by that time, they would be in a very, very bad state. And that's when our products come in. So I think these three things make it very difficult for us. Also, one more point, the awareness of the users and the medical professionals about what a quality product is and what does it really mean, what value it can add in the life of a user, that's also is kind of lacking. So yeah, these four things make the market very challenging. Half of our job is basically to educate all the stakeholders that this is a product, this is how you should buy a wheelchair. Why don't you just try our product and see what it means? Does it make any difference? And I think once they try it, they see the difference. So yeah.
What's your main metric then? When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you want to know, or what you check?
Yeah. So the presently, if you ask me today morning what I did, the numbers that you would look at is, okay, how many dispatches pending, how many sales booked for this month. Third, what are the number of issues, customer complaints that stay unsolved. And the fourth metrics are the certain long-term metrics which we're tracking right now. The two new products that we're developing, at what stage are they in, and the fourth and the other one being we are looking into exports. So there's a lot of regulatory work that we are covering. So what progress have we made on that? So these are the 5 things that for the last 2 months and possibly for the next 4-5 months will be in our focus.
Yeah, you mentioned you're moving to or creating a new manufacturing base in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Yeah. So
how are you going to implement like best practices, and how is it all organised? Is it all like one production line then, or what? I don't know.
The operations that we have been doing for the last 1 year had been pure assembly. All that we focus on is completing assembly. Each wheelchair that we assemble is very unique. So there no two wheelchairs on our shop floor are same. So we collect data from our customers about their health and lifestyle. Based on that, we generate a wheelchair prescription. It's generated by a clinician. It goes to the customer, they approve it, and then it comes to our shop floor, and we assemble that unit. So the key activity that had been going in our assembly line is basically streamlining that. Like every single job order, every single order is unique. So developing the system that all the wheelchairs get assembled, every wheelchair is unique, and we are still able to do that. So that was our focus in the last 1 year. To ensure that all this activity happens, the first step is like ensuring that all the inventory, all the 200 components that go into a wheelchair, we have sufficient stock of that. Recently, we shifted to our new facility. The reasons over there being, as we're increasing our volumes, the quantity of inventory material that we need to carry becomes more because of the varying lead times of our suppliers, and at times they're quite often unreliable. You don't know, the delivery dates will usually not be, so we need to carry a buffer. So we shifted to this new place to ensure that we carry sufficient inventory so that we're able to turn around orders quickly. Second, one new step that we have taken is, when we are working with close to so many vendors, few operations which are had been creating challenges for us in terms of the lead time they take to deliver to us, also in terms of quality. So what we did is we have brought those operations in-house so that we have better control on them, and they are not so at this new facility, increasing the inventory space, bringing a lot of critical operations which were showstoppers in-house to ensure that we are able to run operations smoothly, and at the same time a more streamlined method of doing our assembly, having a space that as we increase volumes, a second assembly line can be set up. So that's how we are going about it.
Awesome stuff. What's been the best day then so far in your career at Neomotion?
Yeah, I think I would definitely say in 2017, probably when the first sale happened and the first customer gave us the check. I think that's like a reality check for us that yes, what all the effort what we had done. The next thing I would say is when we sold the 100th unit, that was a sense of achievement. Next, looking forward to our 1000th unit, which should mostly be achieving in the next 4 to 5 months, and when that unit goes, then it'll be really nice. From there on, obviously the new product developments, all of that, it'll go on.
Yeah. What are you working on right now then? Anything interesting?
I'm working on right now are 2 products, primarily in the elder care segment. Mm-hmm. So what we have is a custom wheelchair, which is more likely to be used by an active person, a young person in the age group of probably 20 to 45, in that age group. What we're building right now is a motorized wheelchair, which has all the benefits of the postural support, the adjustments that there in our existing product, but you don't have to propel it with your hands, but there is a motor power system which achieves it. So that's one. And second thing that we are working on is a shift and lift solution, so that which is primarily for a caregiver to be able to take a person from a bed to a toilet. So the entire activity of shifting and taking them from one place to another, all the strain that goes on their body of a caregiver is simplified, and it's easy for the caregivers.
No, that sounds very exciting.
Thank you.
How's that going then? Have you actually designed it yet?
Yeah, so the motorized wheelchair, that the first prototype is already built, and we are doing different tests on it, on the different specifications aspect of it. And the shift and the lift solutions, it's more at a conceptual stage. We are doing kind of a market study and understanding of what are the existing products out there, why are they failing, what are the issues with them, and why are they not being adopted in India. It's in that stage.
A huge impact on people's lives. How does that feel?
Oh, that's really, I mean, the best part probably about what we do. Our customers keep sharing images or videos of the tasks that they have been able to achieve, and they are really, really inspiring. The moment you see a video of a person going to a place where he or she had never gone before, or there are users like who, so few of our users are actually half marathoners. Someone had a half marathon time of 2 hours 15 minutes, and on our wheelchair it reduced to 1 hour 45 minutes. I mean, combined with the training, but then there was close to a 25% reduction in the time. And when people achieve such events, then it really gives us a lot of excitement. And each of those images that we get from our customers, which they share happily, I think that's really a very nice feedback for everybody. It's a big motivation for all of us, all the work that we do.
What would wheelchairs look like in, say, like 100 years' time then?
That's a very interesting question, and we ourselves have been thinking about it. If you see, conventionally there have been 4 wheels with a seating system, and there have been developments of making them self-balancing with just 2 wheels. That's the future which we have seen. I think going forward, the entire structure, architecture of how they look like, the concept of 2 large wheels being propelled on your own, there has to be some very substantial change in the fundamental architecture of the wheelchair. We may not be even calling it as a wheelchair. It's basically a personal mobility solution. And now people depend on a combination of, there is a motorized wheelchair, there is a commode or a toilet wheelchair, there is a stair climbing wheelchair. There's like some 5-6 different things you need to use to be able to access everything. I think that going forward, that personalized mobility solution, which probably addresses smartly, intelligently all these things, what would we see in 100 years from now?
Oh, cool. That sounds exciting. Last few questions then. What advice would you give to our first-time founders?
Yeah, I think my first advice would be, I think persistence is very important. Committing to some fixed amount of time is important. Like, one should say that I'll give in my best for the next 1 year or 2 years or 6 months, whatever is comfortable, without asking any question, and just reflect at the end of that period. Okay, now where am I, and should I still continue? Does this still make sense to me? I think that's first. Second thing I would say is you need to constantly keep your ears and eyes open, observing what's happening out there, how things are changing, and not get stuck to your idea. I mean, obviously the roots of the idea, what we are working on, has to be within us. But if a customer gives a feedback, just taking a step back and looking at it very objectively, that what they're saying, does it really make sense? And if it makes sense, then probably we should be willing to do a course correction and change things as we look. So these are the 2 things. If you're able to do, I think the rest of the things should follow.
Good advice. That, in terms of, because obviously your background is product design, product development. What about those people who want to get into those kind of industries? Because obviously you went to IIT Madras, but not everyone can get into that one. What about some advice?
Yeah. So I think product design, if specifically if if we're talking about hardware design, I think like any other product development, I think a quick iteration is always important, and the number of iterations that we do, the faster we'll be able to make progress. Because everything that's there in the air, like discussions can happen, but a real feedback, a real discussion only happens when we build something and then we take it to a user, and then they give a feedback. And how it can be done in an extremely frugal and a rudimentary way. Just focus on the basics, do quick iterations, and the number of iterations that you do, I think we'll be able to get to our product architecture very quickly, and the faster we reach there, better it is.
So when you're doing the iterations, is it just a case of learning what customers think then? Is that the main metric from doing these sort of MVP type prototypes?
It's taking the customer closer to a real product, like the product offering, the value proposition that we have, making them visualize it, feel it, experience it in a more closer to the ideal product that we have. What often happens is, like, we think that maybe these 10 features are important, but then when we build it and take it to the customer, we find that out of these 10 features, these 5 features can actually be removed, and maybe one feature can be added which would supersede, which will be more important than all the other 5 features that we already have. And because it's kind of overwhelming, like when we see it, okay, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this, but then finally when we make it and we see, and that takes us closer to the ideal product that is out there. And we also discover, probably when, just giving an example, when we started, we didn't think of that we need a light or a horn or a suspension. Only when we built it, those questions came in. And when those questions came, the entire design has to change in a way to accommodate all of them. And they also add some additional constraints. So it helps put all the pieces together. And once we know all the pieces together, then we can go back to a drawing board, sit silent, and apply the proper thorough engineering concepts to integrate all of them. But reaching that stage where we know, okay, these are all the things that are required, these are the important things, these are not the important things. How quickly we reach there will only happen when we interact with customers multiple times with all the features that we want to have.
Mm-hmm. Can you recommend any books or blogs or anything that helps you on your business?
So I think in the initial days, I used to take courses on Coursera, and a lot of books that I've read, like probably Lean Startup, Peter Thiel blogs, and Y Combinator, different stories that are there out there. So I think maybe then biography of Richard Branson, multiple such things we would have read. Finally, you get a flavor of all the elements that there, and I think I would definitely, after having said all of it, I think the one element which I would definitely repeat is, I think Warren Buffett has a statement that the startup is a very systematic way of risk minimization. I think that has really helped in. So you always find out, okay, what is the next biggest risk, and you just tackle that, at least in the formative years. Like once we are confident, then we can take bold decisions, we can take larger steps. But finding, okay, this is the most important, this is the highest risk that we carry. Like in the initial stages of product development, we need not worry a lot about the business, the model, how it will go about it. What is that single problem that we need to solve, and can we build it? So finding those answers would be helpful.
Mm-hmm. Have you had to deal with negative feedback? People who said, look, well, don't build this, we've already got a wheelchair, it works fine, no problems.
You'll have lots of people who there'll be a lot of negative feedback. I think it will be there. So that's where we have to just take a step back. So we take the positive feedback also objectively and the negative feedback also objectively. It's like, that is his feedback to give. Does it really does not affect it in any way? It just stays as a feedback, and we keep a note of it, and it just say we will not act on this right now because we feel that the path or the decision that we have chosen is all right, and it still makes sense. So yeah, at times I think there is a very nice concept that there's a 6 thinking hats. When we say, like when everybody sits in a room, you allow everyone. There is an idea, there is a concept that we have done. Let everybody say positive about it, and we list the positive. Let everybody say negative about it, and we list. Let's everybody think what else we can do, we can think. So if we put all of them together at one place on a whiteboard and just step back and just look at it as pros, cons, then we don't get attached to it, and then we can take decisions objectively.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sounds very objective there. And has anyone helped you on your journey? Any mentors? Anyone give you some first-class advice?
Yeah. We have had the opportunity to have feedback from mentors across different fields. All the alma mater alumni from IIT Madras and IIM Bangalore, who have, some of whom have been industry leaders in their segments in field of production, manufacturing, design, development, sales, marketing. So at different stages, we have interacted with lots of people, and obviously we'll not be able to implement all the suggestions and ideas that they have given, but they definitely help us increase our understanding and horizon, because at this point of time, I'm only limited by what I can think of. And by interacting with mentors, they expose us to so much more, which may not be relevant right now, but only once we know about it right now, we'll be aware of it. And maybe sometime we will know, okay, this person had said so, it is important and we cannot ignore it. These interactions help in making us aware of all that lies ahead and help us take better decisions.
What's like the main thing you want people to know about what you're building?
What we are building are products which should make wheelchair users truly live independently and a healthy life. And what we are beginning are just 2 products which affect a small aspect. Going forward, it will be a range of products which should enable wheelchair users to truly live life to the fullest.
So last question then, for people who want more information on Neomotion, what must they do?
So people can, to know more about Neomotion, they can, they're free to visit our website to know more about the products, and they can write to us at info at neomotion, neomotion.co.in.
Swostik, thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for all the questions. It was really a pleasure sharing all of those. And thanks for reminding me of my old days, of all the journey that we have done in the last 5 years. Thank you.
No problems. I wish you all the best. Cheers, buddy. Thank you now. Thanks to Swostik for coming on the show today. For more information, go to neomotion.in. Check out the wheelchairs. And that's the end of the show. I shall be back next week. So thank you for listening and supporting the podcast. If you're building something exciting, please send me an email, hello@neilpatel.co, or you can tweet at IndianStartupSH, or you can go to facebook.com/Indian Startup Show. Look to it. I thank you and a goodbye.